Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream until the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on the dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream, his wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
In second grade, my teacher thought I was mute. I had moved to a new school, and my only apparent method of communication was nodding my head yes or shaking it no. I was sent to the school speech therapist so my teacher could confirm that I was in fact capable of forming sentences. My defining feature, or lack thereof, was my quietness. It's not that I never had anything to say, it was that I was too afraid to say it. So I've spent most of my life listening to comments like, "Your voice is so soft," and the occasional ironic one, like, "Stop talking so loud." I've listened to my teachers, listened to my parents, listened to my peers. I've listened to everything but my own voice. I have a complicated relationship with words, especially the ones that dare to leave the safety of my thoughts or the comfort of a page. The words that are spoken out loud. I justified my quietness with my own personal motto, "Why say something if you don't have anything to say?" But honestly, that's just a saying. So, it's not my own personal motto. Clearly, I'm not a fan of small talk, but this mantra has held me back. I've even intensely contemplated saying mere hellos. The world runs on interactions and communication. The sun and the moon rising and setting, the seasons changing, the weatherman announcing the forecast so you know what to wear, the speeches of famous leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela. To hold words hostage from a world in which they flow so gladly is criminal, and I'm guilty. I think listening is underrated in a world where only the loudest voice is heard, but this motto has been holding me back. There have been times when I wanted to speak up and should have spoke up, but my thoughts were a feast of words I could never say. This all changed last year though. I wouldn't have said it 2 years ago, but if I could describe myself in one word today, it would be bold. Most of my time in high school was spent with my head down, eyes averted, and mousy voice wavering if I had to perform anything that remotely resembled public speaking. Comparing the girl I was then to the young woman I am today adds more weight to my definition of bold. Bold isn't just the loudest voice in the room, nor the brightest of red lipsticks, nor a world-class marketing campaign. Bold to me is daring to dream, daring to act, daring to achieve. Last year, I decided to be bold when I recited Maya Angelou's Caged Bird in front of an English class in which I had previously felt too intimidated to even raise my hand. The poem and the skirt with soaring swallows I wore that day couldn't have been more fitting. I had finally let myself out of the cage of crippling doubt and fear that I had been trapped in for most of my life. From that moment on, I decided to live fully and unapologetically for myself. I decided to live boldly. This relatively recent maxim of mine sounds eerily similar to the title of a self-help book chucked in a Barnes & Noble's bargain bin, but I've embraced it. One of the most rewarding things that has come from it is my impact on others. When peers have told me that me coming out of my cage has inspired them to do the same, my heart is warmed by a newfound flame for not only bringing out the best in myself, but others too. Though this demonstrates personal growth, I couldn't have done it without the incredibly supportive people in my life. I never really had close friends before high school, and I almost think it wasn't really necessary, but I really appreciate the relationships I formed and how they've helped me become the person I am today. It's so important to have a group of people who support you and support your craft, and for you to do the same to them. Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on the dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.